guys, and welcome to Katie's Insight, where this is my channel where I give you insight on all kinds of stuff, including news, politics, finance, business, entertainment, and most importantly right now, stimulus, because I want to show you guys what's coming in the pipeline for you and your money. First, I would like to introduce my co-hosts, my candles. I was like, I want to get them in the shot. Y'all, this one makes me so happy. Look at this. Fresh oranges. This is like sunshine in a bottle. And then this one's so nice. It's lavender marshmallow, followed by strawberry pound cake. So for you guys who are always asking, why am I so hyper and bubbly? What is she on? I'm on Bath and Body Works, y'all. I don't know. I think I told you guys this story that it was a few months ago that I got turned on to the fact that they don't just have like sprays and lotions and like soaps. They have candles. I'm like, well, what's a candle? Oh, a candle is my life now. I have hit that stage and that age of my life. But these make me super happy, so I thought I would just feature them in the shot. Not that Bath & Body Works needs any help from me, but hey, B&B, if you want a sponsorship, hit this one up. Anyways, let's go ahead and talk about stimulus. Where are we at? Well, if you didn't see it, I have a video from earlier. I'll have links in the description and links up here where I talk about the possibility of emergency stimulus and specifically emergency stimulus checks coming, especially with President Trump being in the hospital. It seems like it could go either way, where it could push them through, and there are reasons for that, or it could delay it depending on how everything is. Now, yesterday I did a video all about his health, and some of y'all told me the information is not accurate because we are hearing he's doing okay. But now reports are coming out that there are inconsistent reports and that Trump is worse than what he's saying he is. And that's why I put that video out there saying his health is getting worse, because that's what I saw. I saw the inconsistencies, and that's why I reported it the way I did, and it looks like, again, I'm on the right track of what I was reading into and what I was seeing. So I will have another video later to update you guys on where President Trump is at. I know not all of you are Trump fans. I totally understand. I'm not necessarily a Trump fan, but I am a fan of making sure we have the best country or the best planet we possibly can. And I think to be able to do well-wishing to our world leaders is part of that. That's just how I feel. You don't have to feel that way, but I just want to create peace and harmony amongst everybody as much as I can and strive to help make a better existence on this planet. And this is how I'm going to choose to do that. So make sure and see that video. And guys, I want to give you a quick update because I am going to talk about stimulus that's passed, what this means for us, and what is coming on the pipeline, especially for emergency stimulus checks, which I still believe could be coming. I think we had some wrenches thrown in with Trump getting sick, but not that I want him to be sick. This could work out to our benefit. But before we do, guys, I want to remind y'all, you guys probably know this who are watching, but I just left my former channel of over 100,000 subscribers that I built, and I have to completely rebuild, and you guys are amazing. We're almost at 8,000 subscribers. Thank you guys so much. And we pull in, it's over 8,000 views a day. Unreal. I thought I'd be lucky to get 500. Humbly thank you guys. Now, I'm not monetized, so right now I'm not making money. I don't know how much longer I can do this. So if you'd like to keep seeing my videos and you would like to help me, because I've had people say, how can we help? Well, I don't want to take your money. We're all struggling, and who am I to sit here and take your money? But this is what you can do. Like every video you see, watch it from start until finish. If you haven't subscribed already, subscribed. If you haven't hit notifications, please ring that notification bell. That will very much help me. And as well, leave as many comments as you feel you want to. Every comment helps. And share the content. All of these things help me. Watching the video start from finish. If you want to watch multiple times, you can. You don't have to. I wouldn't watch my videos multiple times, but if you like them, you are more than welcome to do so, and that helps bump up the watch time. Right now, in the last 2 days, we are over half the way monetized. I got to get 4,000 watch hours. I'm at 2,300, so anything that you guys could do, greatly appreciated. I so appreciate all of you. Okay, so let's now talk about stimulus. Also, find me on Facebook, Katie's Insight. Like the page, join the group, Katie's Corner. I'll change the name later. It's not letting me yet. Come in, ask all the stimulus questions you want. Links in the description. Now, let's get into this situation and where we are at. So, as many of you guys know, this last week, we had two pieces of stimulus pass. Now, one I've already talked about. The House came in Thursday night and they passed stimulus. Fantastic. However, it looks like unless they do a deal behind the scenes, it's dead on arrival. It looks like if Nancy Pelosi and Mnuchin don't get together, if the White House and the Democrats don't get together, it has very little shot of passing the Senate because that is going to be the next step. It has to go to the Senate. But we had some other things passed too. Now, I had been reporting that I think that we may be getting a package or checks as early as October 1st it being signed. And the reason is because October 1st is when the airlines will furlough all of their workers. It's like right around the 20,000 mark of workers, which is just It's insanity to think about. And I get it. I guess with the airlines, they had a specific deal in place for X amount of months, and that was going to run out at the end of September. And they have been begging for help. Between that and the stopgap that needed to happen so we can keep the government open, a lot of us were like, okay, this looks like there's a good shot of this passing. And I still think there's a good shot, but I think Trump being sick has thrown a wrench into everything. Because as we know, Trump, he was basically saying, he's been hinting if the government doesn't get their you-know-what together, he's going to send people stimulus checks. He'd been saying that in briefings, and he's been having people put that out. In fact, the earlier video from today is all about more hints of the emergency stimulus. Not to mention, guys, when it comes to all these people coming out and speaking on behalf of Trump and his health, everybody who's speaking says he's talking about stimulus. He's asking for stimulus, working on stimulus. We know this is still a very big priority for him, and Lord have mercy, do we all need it. I am praying, A, that he and Melania and everybody else affected in the White House and the government get better as quickly as possible, and B, that this might give him even more perspective on what this thing is and a bigger push right now to be able to go forward with doing stimulus, because unfortunately we know the government doesn't care about any of us. They don't care. They don't care whether or not we live or die, both Republicans and Democrats. The Republicans are just outwardly evil, and the Democrats are sneaky evil. I don't like any of them. But so far, the only place that's been willing to help and show that they are willing to help, crazy enough, is the White House. But isn't Orange Man bad? Like, okay, that's another thing that bothers me. Can we just talk about the hypocrisy of the kind, tolerant, loving left who say you shouldn't bully and you shouldn't bully somebody on their appearance and you shouldn't bully women on their weight, which I'm all for all of that, right? However, we should make fun of the president's hair and his skin color. I'm sorry, it bothers me. I hear him say, well, he doesn't. Okay, so when somebody else is crappy, does that mean you should be crappy back? Because if so, then the party lines need to change with the kind, tolerant, loving left. We rise above it because so many aren't. Which, by the way, when I say this, please also keep in mind, a lot of who I'm referring to as the extremists or the people at the top. And unfortunately, those are the silent minority people, those extremists. Most of you that are Democrats that are watching, I know that you aren't that extreme. In fact, we probably have some of the same values. So please understand I'm not attacking you. I'm attacking the crazies and the people at the top who are crazy. Same goes for the Republicans if you think I'm attacking Republicans. I am not trying to bash you specifically because most of you aren't that nuts. Even if maybe you go towards the extreme a little bit, you're still not as nuts as these people. So that's what I'm referring to, just so you know. But I wanted to go ahead and talk about this because little article of information to pull up for you. By the way, I've heard you guys talk about this. You've said you don't like me just doing the screenshots and reading, but you'd rather if I was going to read like this. Let me know in the comments if you like that better, because I can always do this. This is fun. It's fine for me. So I want to go ahead and give you guys the information on the stopgap. And I also have to tell you, right now it drives me insane that the government decided, well, we want to protect our checks coming in, so we're going to do a stopgap, but nobody's helping us. Except the only one that seems to be vocal about helping us is Trump. Where yes, the Democrats are vocal, but you can never trust what the Democrats, specifically Pelosi, has to say. Go eat your ice cream with your blowout, girl. She drives me nuts. Okay, and this is from Bloomberg. It says, House passes stopgap funding measure to keep the government open. The U.S. House passed a stopgap funding bill to keep the government operating through December 11th, after both parties in Congress and the officials at the White House struck a deal to provide aid to farmers and food assistance for low-income families. The 359-57 vote on Tuesday night now sends the temporary spending bill to the Senate for a vote before the fiscal year ends on September 30th. Final passage would avert a government shutdown just before the November 3rd election. In addition to funding most government agencies, the deal provides $30 billion for the Department of Agricultural Commodity Credit Corporation that the Trump administration and farm state laws have sought. Democrats got almost $8 billion for a pandemic program to feed children who normally receive school lunches. That's an increase from the $2 billion Democrats initially suggested they could accept on Friday. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi said the measure imposes some restriction limits on the use of the CCC money by barring it from getting to petroleum refineries or importers, or to help them meet renewable fuel standards. We also increase accountability in the Commodity Credit Corporation, preventing funds for farmers from being misused for big oil bailouts, Pelosi said in a statement. Pelosi and her Democratic colleagues on Monday released a temporary funding package without the Commodity Credit Corporation or food assistance funding. But facing pressure, from some farm state Democrats and solid opposition from Republicans, Pelosi reopened negotiations. Democratic critics have accused President Donald Trump of using the CCC to dole out political favors. The president last Thursday announced he was drawing $13 billion in aid from the CCC to help rural areas, which are important to his re-election prospects. He unveiled the move at a campaign event in Wisconsin, a key battleground state in the presidential election. Democrats from far states and those in narrowly divided districts pushed Pelosi to include the farm money. Swinging District Representative Cindy Axon of Iowa issued a statement calling for inclusion of the CCC funds and warning about a shortfall for traditional farm subsidies. Virginia Democratic Abigail Spanberger, who also represents a district that Republicans are trying to win back, criticized Pelosi in a tweet over the issue. This is a partisan move that slows down the much-needed relief for American farmers and agribusinesses. I strongly urge the Speaker of the House and the leadership to include an extension of the Commodities Credit Corporation, or CCC, borrowing authority in the funding bill, she tweeted Tuesday. A continued standoff would have risked the clock running out on government funding if the Senate blocked the House's version of the stopgap bill and attempted to amend it with the farm aid funds. Such a Senate vote could also have been politically difficult for Democrats in states where agriculture is a crucial industry. Yeah, part of why I don't like to read these live is simply because I'm going to have some typos with my mouth, which aren't typos, mouth typos. What I'm going to call it. Democrats have preferred to keep the farm aid debate for a separate stimulus bill and at one point agreed to the change in exchange for $2 billion in food assistance for children. But the final language was still being worked on. Some Democrats had sought to extend funding into next spring, betting that the November 3rd election would put them in charge in the Senate and White House. Republicans resisted that push with the argument that it would give Congress a deadline to finish work on full funding bills. If the stopgap is finalized, lawmakers will try to complete work on the 12 annual appropriations bill for the fiscal 2021 in the post-election lame duck session in November and December. So far, the Senate hasn't drafted any of the bills, and there's likely a battle ahead over paying for Trump's wall on the U.S.-Mexico border and replacing military funds he raided to pay for the wall last year. Pelosi and Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin agreed earlier this month to keep talks on the virus relief stimulus package separate from the stopgap bill. Stimulus talks have stalled since early August with both sides about $1 trillion apart in their efforts. Now, I want to give you guys kind of a heads up as to what has happened since all of this has taken place. So, this was officially signed into law. This went to the Senate and then went to the president, who went ahead and signed this into existence, which is awesome. However, the thing that sucks is the stopgap is to make sure that when it comes to the government staying open, the government gets to stay open, because if not, that was going to shut down by October 1st. So they got their you-know-what together to do that. But then the airlines, who are in the same position, they have left high and dry, and the airlines are on the verge of having to furlough about 20,000 people. If we're screaming about how bad unemployment is and we don't want to give a stimulus, why don't we, help these people? I'm so disgusted that both sides cannot come together to reach a conclusion to help the airlines and also to help us. And I feel for the airlines on the one hand. Now, here's the thing. I'm somebody who's a frequent traveler and always having to travel economy. I hate flying. I love travel. I love the concept of flying. However, I hate the stress and the fact that we are all treated as cattle and there's very little you can actually do when airlines want to screw you over. So I am very pro some reform in how they deal with their consumers in the airline industry. However, this situation is not their fault and people aren't traveling for obvious reasons. In some places, they aren't allowed to travel. So I understand and I definitely support them needing help. However, what's going to happen? And unfortunately, we were really hoping that this would tie into a bill that would help us right now. And once again, both sides of the government have failed us because they consistently show they don't care. However, I want to give you guys an update on the airlines and the furloughs because I do really feel that's still going to be tied to the possible next stimulus bill. So as much as I don't want the airlines or the people especially, because, screw the people at the top who probably aren't great. If you are, wonderful. But the people at the bottom who desperately need that work and are scared, and now if they apply for unemployment, who knows what they're going to get because there's no stimulus there yet. I do want to take a look. I have another little article of information pulled up about where the airlines are, and this is from Fox Business, and it says, Pelosi pledges imminent relief for U.S. airlines, urges industry to delay thousands of furloughs, and this was done as of a couple days. This is from October 2nd, so this is very recent, and it says, impasse between White House and Democrats over what to include in another aid package continues to persist. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi on Friday asked airlines to delay tens of thousands of planned furloughs, vowing that additional government relief is imminent for the virus-batteried industry. Pelosi's comments came one day after U.S. airlines began cutting 35,000 jobs following the expiration of the $25 billion bailout fund that was created earlier this year as a part of the CARES Act. Under the terms of the agreement, airlines were prohibited from cutting jobs or reducing workers' pay through September 30th. But absent another stimulus deal, major airlines warned they will be forced to furlough thousands of pilots, flight attendants, gate agents, and other employees. Pelosi said the White House will either pass bipartisan standalone legislation introduced earlier in the year that would allocate $32 billion to protect aviation workers from layoffs through next March, or extend the payroll support program for another 6 months in a broader virus relief package. The initiative is focused solely on the workers, keeping them on the payroll, so these workers maintain their critical training and certification requirements unique to their industry. As relief for airline workers is being advanced, the airline industry must delay these devastating job cuts, Pelosi said in a statement, the title of which was Imminent Relief for Airline Workers. An impasse between the White House officials and Democratic leaders over what to include in another aid package has continued to persist more than 1 month after negotiations first collapsed. House Democrats on Friday passed a $2.2 trillion aid package, but Republicans panned the legislation as too expensive amid concerns over the nation's ballooning deficit and more confidence the economy is recovering faster than expected. The White House countered with a $1.6 trillion proposal, which Pelosi blasted as not even half a loaf. What they're offering is the heel of the loaf, she told Bloomberg TV. It's no use going to a negotiation if you say, I'll just take the path of least resistance. Lawmakers are working on an increasingly tight deadline as they prepare to leave Washington to campaign ahead of the November 3rd election. Airlines have begged the government for additional aid after a rebound in air travel, which plunged 95% between March and mid-April, when the virus crisis brought the nation's economy to a grinding halt. Did not materialize this summer. While it's mounted a tepid recovery since then, air travel remains well below pre-pandemic levels. American Airlines sent furlough notices to 19,000 employees, and United Airlines sent notices to some 13,000 workers. Delta Airlines has warned that it intends to cut some 1,700 pilots on November 1st. So we still don't have anything for them, although we had people like Pelosi make sure she protects her bag. And it just goes to show you, if people want to know in the next coming election why the Democrats don't win, it's stuff like this. This is not coming from somebody who is pro-Trump, and I'm also not anti-Trump. I'm just telling you common sense what this looks like, because this is being shown that they don't care about the airlines, and in not caring about the airlines and what they're going through, they don't care about helping us either, both sides. At this point, I think the only shot we have is for the president to step up and do something. He's already done it once before, and yes, I can already hear the comments. The emergency executive orders he put into place did not go far enough, but he did what he could do within his limited means. That's more than what Pelosi has done, and that's more than what McConnell, doesn't care if children starve, McConnell have done. And I am praying here soon we get something going. Now, here's the good news. Because we had the stimulus pass this past Thursday in the House, it has to go into the Senate. There are now open talks between Pelosi and Mnuchin, between the White House and the Democrats, because for a while, nobody was talking. And it was like, what are you guys doing? It was weeks of nobody even trying to negotiate. But now they are trying to negotiate with the Democrats at $2.2 trillion. And now the White House has come up to $1.6 trillion in a deal. We are only $6-ish trillion away from getting something done. Actually, 6-ish, hundreds of millions, right? I can't math again today. But this is really, really good. We're only 0.6 away from being able to have something go forward. And it looks like the talks are going well, because if we don't have talks behind closed doors, there's no way they can get the Senate to push this through. So then the White House, if they can come to an agreement, has to sell this to the Senate. We don't know if that's going to happen. Unfortunately, this is a situation we're just going to have to kind of wait and see what happens. But I'm hoping that this week we have some movement. Now, we all know the president is sick with the virus. He is in the hospital, but it's also still very possible he can do executive orders from his hospital bed if he wanted to. And I kind of wonder, wouldn't that be an interesting wild card if that came to pass? And that would just clinch him the election. That would just cinch it up coming up for him, so that, because that would, how many wins would that be for him in the eyes of the American people? And right now, because of the fact that he has the virus, this looks like a big L. It looks like he's taking a loss when it comes to what's going on in the eyes of the American people. Because remember, a lot of this is more about the appearance of Trump. Getting the virus gives the appearance that he is not a strong leader, which we all know that's a weakness for him, to look like he's not a strong big guy, right? That's just part of his vibrato. It also looks like it would literally look like his policies have not worked. The things he said have not worked. Him opening the economy hasn't worked. Like, there are a lot of losses in regard to him and outbreaks within the White House and the government now all getting this. But I think a way he could turn this around, and it's free, it's free marketing, PR, publicity, it's free everything for him, would be to pass some emergency stimulus, which he's already been teasing doing. Go check out my video from earlier, but that's what we talk about, the emergency stimulus and all the teasers. I'm also going to have more coming up about that as well, because we have been seeing this when it comes to President Trump and him talking, like when it comes to his people stepping up and talking about how his health is, how he's doing. They're all talking about he is hyper-focused on stimulus. Every interview, Mark Meadows, his doctors, all these people, he wants to talk about stimulus, wants to get back to work on stimulus. So I think we might have a good shot, and Trump knows he's going to have to pull some magic out of his you-know-what to try to turn this perception around right before the election. I swear. I don't know that 2020 can get any crazier, and I'm scared to say that. I am scared to say that as a result of what keeps happening. Y'all, like I said the last video, I'm just waiting for the alien invasion, and I hope I can make friends with nice aliens. Nice aliens, if you're watching. Hi, nice aliens, hi. We're not all crazy a-holes. I promise. Come sniff some of my candles with me, because that's right. Aliens would travel light years at hyperspeed and supersonic whatever and anti-gravity, who knows, to come in my room and sniff candles with me, because that is logical. That's where I'm going to end this video, guys. All right, thank you so much for watching. And guys, if you want to support this channel, this is what you can do to help get me monetized. Watch the video from start to finish. Like, please give me a big thumbs up on this video. Comment, sound off. Let me know if you think we're on the right course, if you think that going forward we're going to get some emergency stimulus, or we are just going to be screwed either way. Let me know what you think about Trump and the virus. Let me know everything. The more comments you leave, the better for my channel. Also, share this content with as many people as you can and you think it would help. And then the last thing, guys, make sure if you haven't subscribed and hit notifications. That way you can be up to date with everything going on and all the stimulus stuff I have to put out. This week is going to get very, very interesting. I just hope my health holds up in the situation so I can keep giving you guys content, because Lord, since the beginning of May, I went from having very few days off, except for times that I had to take off, and trust me, it wasn't times off. It was very, very stressful. So hoping I can just continue to build this channel, continue to get you guys content, get monetized, pay my assistant, and keep going. We'll see what happens, and I will keep you guys up to date as much as I can. Okay, guys, this has been Katie, and thank you for listening to my insight on things. I appreciate you guys. Again, every day I'm reminded how blessed I am to be on this channel and to have all of you on my side. I couldn't ask for a better audience. I don't care if the audience is small. You guys are amazing, and you make this so worth it for me every day, and you guys are massively helping me. We are halfway to the goal of getting monetized, so anything you can do helps. Please don't offer me money. I appreciate the ones that have. You guys are struggling too, and who am I to be taking money from people who are struggling or taking money at all? I don't want to do that, but these are ways you can help if you'd like to. Okay, I'm going to end this video here now. Thank you so much for listening to my insight on things. Until the next video, we will talk soon. Take care, guys.